My name's Joe Cantamessa, and I play lead guitar for IATT. IATT have always had a dark sound to them with these, dark melodic undertones, counterpoint riffs. When I joined the band, 12 plus years ago, that's something that really struck me with the band is how they wrote their music and the presence that they had. Coming with a more like melodic black metal style that I had, incorporating that with the band was something that was kind of challenging at first, but back in 2015 when we released Gnosis, that was like the turning point for us when we kind of had that chemistry together with our sound that we had, and we kind of realized, this is something that clicks for us, and we hope for the listener as well. And from there, the sound morphed into a more progressive black metal sound to us. In 2019, we released Nomenclature. We had more of an identity, cohesiveness as a band for what we wanted to do. And we were pulling, roots back from our first EP with, the Latin influences that we had and the vibes that we had there. In 2020, when we started writing for Magnum Opus, it was more of a seamless process because we had a lot more chemistry under our belt after releasing 2 full-length albums. In 2020, we started writing for Magnum Opus, which was more of a seamless process because we had a lot of chemistry under our belt as a 4-piece, with having 2 full-length albums being released at the time. Magnum Opus really showcases that in the history as a band because it showcases everything that we've done into one album. The writing process for Magnum Opus was a little different than we have done in the past because we're actually preparing to go on tour to support Nomenclature when the pandemic hit. We all had time scheduled off for day jobs, so what we were able to do was kind of lock ourselves, in a rehearsal spot and write. During that time, we were able to spend a lot of time together, writing the tracks and kind of just fleshing out the skeletons to get the idea to kind of gain some momentum and hype for, Magnum Opus. Some of the challenges with writing and producing Magnum Opus were obviously COVID-19 because when a pandemic hit, we really couldn't get together as much as we really wanted to write music together. So we kind of took advantage of using technology, So we kind of worked in our own studios and wrote the music and sent it to each other digitally. This way, when we got together as a band, we could flesh the songs out and kind of, finalize them at that point. Another thing that we really did was pre-production. That was something we learned during Nomenclature that was really important. Having the skeletons of the songs and then being able to kind of listen to them, dozens of times to kind of see what do I need to add here. All these little nuances to kind of make the song sound complete. Writing these songs in our home studio and setting them to each other really shaped how we write as a band and collaborate together. I think that shows Magnum Opus because there's a wide variety of genres on this album that really are cohesive along all the tracks. And that cohesiveness really shows where we are as a band with that collaboration and how we write together, as a 4-piece. Some of the theory that went behind writing Magnum Opus was we really wanted to have like a genre-bending album that didn't pigeonhole us in a black metal or death metal scene. We all come from different backgrounds musically, and writing these songs on our own, we were able to kind of incorporate, our individual genres and music styles that we wanted, and then come together and, join them cohesively to see what the outcome was. The outcome was Magnum Opus, and to us, the name of the album is, it's a heavy name to have for an album title. And when Jay came up with that, we wanted to make sure the music was really driving for that. And I really think we did the title of this album justice. When the listeners hear Magnum Opus, I really hope they can hear the emotions that went behind each riff in every song. Not everything in the world is sad or just happy. All the emotions are a part of a daily life, and that's kind of what we want the daily life to be each track of Magnum Opus. We wrote this album during a pandemic, and I think the emotions that we were all feeling during that time show on the album, and I really hope that translates over to each listener.